All hands on deck for Week 11. Hi, and welcome to CBSSports.com's Fantasy Football Series. This is Stardom and Situm. I'm Amber Wilson. It's time to say goodbye to the buys for the 2007 season. As for the rest of the way, we've got a full complement of games, but a huge name will be out for Week 11 and possibly more. The Vikings will go into Week 11 against the Raiders without their star rookie running back, Adrian Peterson. He tore the lateral collateral ligament in his right knee in Week 10 versus the Packers. Chester Taylor will return to the starting running back role as the Vikings wait on Peterson. The Colts have had their fair share of injuries so far this season. Sunday versus the Chargers, Manning was without Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark, Anthony Gonzalez, Tony Hugo, and others, which led to him throwing for 6 picks, which is the most in his NFL career. Just imagine the press conference if Jim Mora was still his head coach. With their status still up in the air for Week 11, in comes the Kansas City Chiefs to Indianapolis. Peyton Manning threw 3 picks against Kansas City in last season's playoffs and has always struggled against Herman Edwards coached teams. Even with a full arsenal at his disposal, Peyton has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns against the Jets and Chiefs with Edwards at the helm, including last year's divisional round win in which he threw 3 picks and the 2002 41-0 blowout at the hands of the Jets. Not the kind of stat Manning owners wanted to hear after his 6-pick performance in Week 10. So Peyton might have had another tough week to go into Week 11, but what about LT? He's had a tough go against the top defenses this year. He hasn't broken 100 total yards versus the likes of the Bears, Patriots, Packers, Vikings, and Colts. And here comes the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 11. Another tough test for the Chargers. And we welcome into the show senior fantasy football writer Dave Richards. So Dave, the sky is falling. Pigs are flying. Is it possible?
Cats and dogs living together.
Oh my gosh, is it possible we're actually going to sit LaDainian Tomlinson this week?
You better believe we're not going to sit LaDainian Tomlinson this week. It's this camera, not sit LaDainian Tomlinson this week. And the reason why is because you take a look at how he's done against bad defenses. There are a lot of running backs in the NFL that wish that they could do this well against weak defenses. LaDainian might be good for about 12, 14 fantasy points this week in standard scoring leagues. If you've got him, you can't bench him. There's just no way you can do it. But the strange thing is that we have made a case here that he's not going to get 100 yards, that he's not going to get 2, 3, 4 touchdowns, and he hasn't really done that much this year at all.
But we've got to stick with him, even so.
Right. There are people out there that have there are people that have doubts because he's playing at Jacksonville.
It's definitely a far fall from the top. All right. Moving on. Peyton also.
Yeah.
Another guy. Here's
another guy who they're saying is somebody
stud that we're talking about this week, not going to have a good week.
Well,
what do we do here?
No, he is going to have a good week here. He didn't have a good week last week, but did he? He had 6 interceptions, and the 6th interception was a Hail Mary pass at the end of the game. He still threw for over 300 yards in the rain with 2 touchdowns, without Marvin Harrison, without Dallas Clark, using Crefonzo Thorpe and Brian Fletcher as his receivers other than Reggie Wayne. It's amazing that he did this well. We should give the guy even more credit because he hasn't really, he's always been able to do it because he's had great talent around him. And now finally here came a week where he only had Reggie Wayne as the only recognizable receiver in his arsenal, and he did well. This week, whether Dallas Clark's there or Marvin Harrison's there, you got to start Peyton Manning against the Chiefs.
All right. Moving on to starting quarterbacks, Kurt Warner, Matt Schaub, and John Kitna. Those guys are all going to have good weeks this week as well.
Absolutely. Kurt Warner's in a great matchup. Matt Schaub coming back. Andre Johnson's coming back for Houston. Definitely quarterbacks you want to start.
Sit quarterbacks, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and J.P. Lossman.
Yeah, and Manning is the name that really sticks out here. It's because Plaxico Burress hasn't been playing well. He's had a bum ankle. He says it's bothering him now more than it has in the past. Eli Manning's stats are tied to Plaxico's stats. 8 of Manning's 14 passing touchdowns this year, Amber, are to Plaxico Burress. So if Burress is hurt, he's not going to be nearly as good. Manning's numbers suffer.
Okay. Moving on to starting running backs, Chester Taylor, Rudy Johnson, Ernest Graham.
Yeah, Chester Taylor, this is the sneaky play here because Adrian Peterson's gone. Right. Chester Taylor's going to get all those carries, a good receiving threat out of the backfield. We like him so much that we've got him as a #1 fantasy running back this week.
Wow, but we don't like Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Foster, and Justin Fargas.
Yeah, and again, these are just matchup issues. All 3 of these guys are no more than #2 fantasy running backs anyway.
All right, your start wide receivers, Chad Johnson, not a huge surprise, Andre Johnson, Joey Galloway.
Well, actually, Chad Johnson is a huge surprise because he hasn't been playing well this year. He had a great week in week 2. Maybe week 1 he did okay. Since then, he's really been on the decline.
But up against Arizona.
This is a great matchup. Yes. Just about everybody in this game you're going to want to start on your fantasy team.
Right, absolutely. But sit this week, Dwayne Bowe, Calvin Johnson, and Steve Smith. at Green Bay
They,
again.
they say that I need to say suckerific here for Calvin Johnson. He's been playing bad. I'm not going to use that term. He's just a rookie wide receiver. You got to understand the rookie wide receivers don't do so well in their first season. He had a great start. He's kind of tailing off. I don't like him this week. And obviously Steve Smith, status quo so long as they don't have a good quarterback presence in Carolina.
Right, absolutely. All right, Dave, thanks for all of your start and sit-em advice. That'll do it for us for now. Keep your mouth right here. CBSSports.com for everything you need to know in the world of sports. If you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewind. For Dave Richard, I'm Amber Wilson, and good luck with your life.